Hello everybody, today we're going to be talking about makeup spending and makeup prices. How much is too much and do we know when to stop? I think it's no secret that makeup prices have increased exorbitantly over the past few years. Anyone who has been around for a few years, who has been a makeup lover for a few years can attest to this. I definitely remember a time where you could literally go into a drugstore and do the $20 makeup challenge and come out with a full face for $20. It was like a whole YouTube challenge thing. You'd go into a drugstore with a $20 bill and you'd be expected to come out having like a full face of makeup product for under $20 or just at that $20 mark. Now that's impossible, but people actually were able to buy a full face of makeup for $20 a few years ago. You literally cannot do that. And that's just drugstore makeup. Now we have makeup palettes that are more than $100, more than $200. It is something that has become a common theme. And in this video, I want to shed some light on this because I think that it's really common for us to get desensitized to certain things that are going on in the makeup industry, and this is something that we have to be aware of. Finance is something that is so tied to makeup, but we never really see a lot of conversation about it. Now we are seeing a little bit more, which is good, but when you have so much time, attention, and business just focused on advertising in the makeup industry, it's really important to know just when you want to draw the line, just what your limits are, and if you don't have limits, it's important to make them. I think it's really important to think about makeup pricing from the perspective of somebody who knows nothing about makeup. If you take a makeup product and you hold it up and you show somebody, or you ask somebody who knows little to nothing about makeup to estimate the cost of that makeup product, they would be way off, because that person is looking at that makeup product or that beauty product as the object that it really is. And to that person, that object that you're holding up, that beauty product that you're holding up, is not worth the actual price tag. Does that make any sense? So for us, makeup and beauty lovers, we love just using makeup. We love makeup. We're in this industry and we're looking at this industry because of that passion, but we value makeup so much higher because of the emotional attachment that we have with it. So for me, whenever I look at an eyeshadow palette that I'm really just attracted to, that sounds so weird, but you know what I mean. Whenever I look at an eyeshadow palette that I have a certain affinity to, I price it higher because of the fact that I just love makeup in general, because of the fact that I love eyeshadows, because of the fact that I love makeup as a whole. I am able to excuse the spending of money to get the eyeshadow palette. I'm able to say, hey, yeah, I can spend $60 on this eyeshadow palette because I love the makeup that it is part of. I'm not sure if that makes any sense or not, but I do think that it is really important to realize that yes, this industry, this YouTube industry, the social media industry is becoming so tied to advertising, and I do think that it's important to recognize advertising as something that we don't necessarily have to be so susceptible to. It's literally all about self-awareness, gauging what's best for you and your financial well-being. And that's why I said at the beginning of this video, finances and makeup are not usually talked about in the same respect, but I think that's so important to talk about the two because they are really intertwined within one another. As many of you guys know, I was recently on a no-buy, and I just stopped my no-buy just this past week, and I really treasured that experience and I really was able to open my eyes and realize to an even greater extent that loving makeup doesn't mean you have to spend an exorbitant amount of money to supply that love. You can just as easily use what you have. You can just as easily make really smart, really calculated purchasing decisions that will coincide with your love of makeup without necessarily making progressively more terrible financial decisions for yourself. And I'm not saying that buying a lot of makeup is terrible for your finances, because Really, for a lot of people, it's not. But I think it's really important to know how much you need to spend on makeup, how much you can spend on makeup, or how much you're willing to spend on makeup. Regardless, it's important to have limits. Makeup in general is made up of so many different subcategories. You have face makeup, you have eye makeup, you have lip products. And for me, I really find certain categories more fascinating than others. So the categories that I find a little bit more interesting are the categories that I'm willing to spend more on more often. So for instance, whenever it comes to eye makeup, be it glitters, be it eyeshadows, or anything like that that's like specifically for the eye area, I spend a little bit more money more often. Same thing goes for eyeliner, same thing goes for mascara, false lashes. I usually do tend to limit myself, but at the same time, I do find myself spending more often on that specific category. My cap for eye makeup would be around $50 to $60. I've never really spent $60 on anything eye related, but I definitely have spent $50 on an eyeshadow palette, and I'm completely comfortable doing so. However, if we delve in a little bit deeper, I really only like, say for instance, drugstore mascara or drugstore eyeliner, and I really don't spend a lot of money on false lashes at all. You won't really find me spending anything over $15 on a pair of lashes, and my lashes that I do have, I literally use over and over again until they fall apart. So even within that category, I have certain things that I want to spend more on and certain things that I want to spend less on, and I'm aware of those limits, so whenever I walk into a makeup store, I know what my limits are. For face makeup, surprisingly enough, I have been willing to spend a lot less. I have been experimenting with finding more drugstore related things, and especially since I have decided to stop wearing foundation that often, my limits for face makeup have decidedly decreased. Before, I would spend like around $40 on a foundation and feel completely comfortable with it. Now, I don't like to spend that kind of money whatsoever. I actually prefer to sticking to drugstore products, drugstore formulas, and using what I have. So I would say that my cap right now for face makeup is like around $20, maybe even less. Lip makeup is where I like to have a little bit more fun. I love lip products, so for me, my cap for that category is definitely $30. I don't want to be spending anything more than $30 because, I mean, it's lip stuff, but I still want to try different brands at different price points. I want to experiment a little bit. There are other categories such as eyebrows that I don't want to spend anything on whatsoever. I actually like to use neutral eyeshadows as eyebrow powder because I don't want to spend any more money or any money whatsoever on eyebrow products. So really, it's important, I think, to sit down and contemplate and really realize what your limits are whenever it comes to certain categories, because I did that and I'm able now to walk into any kind of makeup store, to go on any kind of makeup website, and I'm able to figure out what I'm willing to spend money on and what I'm not. And I'm the kind of person that doesn't necessarily want to stray from those limits. I don't see myself spending $70 on a foundation anytime soon because that is not me and that is not where my limits are. My limits will probably adjust in the future, definitely. Of course, it depends on how much money I'm making in the future. It also depends on the status of my YouTube channel, because you guys know that I have this channel that you're watching me on right now, and I post on here a lot, and it's become my glorified hobby. Do I view it as an excuse to buy more and more and more makeup? Not that much, but I have recognized that the reason I buy certain makeup products would be because I have a YouTube channel. There are several palettes that I wouldn't have purchased if I didn't have a YouTube channel, and I am trying to really recognize that, and I am trying to make sure that I'm aware that just because I have a YouTube channel doesn't mean I have an excuse to spend more money on makeup that I don't necessarily need. But if my YouTube channel does grow and does start making more money, I will see that as a viable excuse to spend a little bit more on makeup if it's making me money in the end. In closing, I do want to discuss where I predict makeup prices will be going in the future. I definitely do think that influencer marketing, as it becomes more and more successful, as it becomes more, I would say, prevalent in our culture, it will really cause makeup prices to go up even higher. And I do think that no matter what, talking about makeup in this, I would say, analytical sense is so important, because I don't necessarily see my passion for makeup dying anytime soon. I think that I will always have some sort of creative bone in my body, and for now that creative bone is dedicated to, I would say, exercising a certain love for makeup. But at the same time, something that I value more than my love for makeup would be my well-being. Well-being is very much tied to financial well-being, and I think it's so important to realize that, to recognize that, and to benefit from that awareness. That is all I have to say on this topic for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it interesting. I hope it also made you think a little bit, and I really do hope that this video was helpful to you in that way. Thank you so much for watching till the end, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye guys.